Well, I was in life insurance, and involved in life insurance, you get involved in people's estates. And fortunately, in our case, Frankie's father and aunt had always been very generous, charitably, and so it kind of rubbed off. And to our advantage as well as the beneficiaries. I had not really known any of the detail about the foundation, but the more I heard, the more I liked. And so it became ultimately a part of me. I became a very strong believer in what the foundation was doing. It helped people be generous, and that gave them good feelings. And that's something that's underrated. They called it a distribution committee in those days. There were 8 people, 1 woman, 7 guys, and they had guys like Dan Stone, who was the CEO of Phoenix Mutual, and of course Jack Davis, who ran Connecticut Printers, but was better known for the fact that he ran the Hartford Foundation, and he did run it. He was a very strong man with very good ideas, very patrician, but that's okay. So we were in good hands.
This is a giving man, and he was so impressed when he was interviewed because he decided he would like to get involved. He had been selling life insurance for 17 years, and he knew that was a good thing, but he also thought that the Hartford Foundation would be a wonderful thing to be involved in. So he went to an interview, and he came home, and he was just so excited about it. He just hoped it was a good interview, and it was.
The members of the distribution committee and the staff were all pretty much patricians, and yet we were trying to work effectively with people who were poor and had need that we wanted to do something about. And there was kind of a chasm between us, but we learned how to deal with people who were not in the same socio-economic class that we fancied we were in. The agencies were always delighted to work with us because we could be a source of help to them. We could make grants to the agencies. We don't, as you know, we do not make grants to individuals. But it worked out well, and as we succeeded, we spread out more, and were able to be more effective. We and the staff, one of the things we sincerely pushed was the pleasure of giving, and it turns out to be true. That when you do something fine for somebody else, you feel good, and that's a wonderful feeling. We were fortunate enough to be dealing with people who had other friends in the same social economic class. So when they were with their friends and casually mentioned that they enjoyed working with the foundation, it just kind of spread. It didn't kind of spread, it spread. And to the advantage of everybody, because the more you have, the more you're going to have. And we did grow very fortunately. And our yearbook told people this. And so some people that we didn't have one-on-one personal relationships with were reading our yearbook, which was very well done, I thought. On rare occasions, the foundation takes the initiative, doesn't wait for one of the agencies to ask, but says, hey, here is a need, we should get involved. The one that comes to mind instantly is the need for women who have children and no husband and no income. And this is very tough. But there was a need for it, and there was no particular agency that was trying to deal with it. And so the foundation stepped in and said, we'll do this, we'll try. And gave a grant to, who the deuce was it? It was a women's organization, of course, and they really wanted to roll up their sleeves and do some good, but they were not organized. They just were there, and so they got organized, and the grant that we gave had all kinds of conditions on it to make them organize. And they did, and someday in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll remember their name.
I think that the women's group have certainly, not that that was the start of it, but I think that the women, single women and so forth, needs are being addressed, not only by the foundation, but women are coming into their own, which is a good thing. But I was never really involved. I was on the home front, the country girl.
And very effective.
My folks and my aunt just were very generous to us because they were able to be, and I never really paid a lot of attention to what the foundation was doing. I just know how thrilled Bill was to have, as I said before, I think that he was not satisfied with the rest of his life selling life insurance. He was just hoping in the opportunity came up. And I think that he, having met, what was his name? Who was the original director? Jack Davis.
Russ Foster?
Okay, Russ Foster, okay. But he just was so impressed with everybody he met, and my dad was very much involved in Hartford. He had a tobacco business, and he never smoked or drank himself. So that I don't think he realized. He had inherited some money too, so, but he had a good financial mind.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Bill fit in very well to our family as well as into the foundation, I think.
Loving. Amen. But that's not all.
No, and we were very involved in the church.
Yeah.
And bringing the kids up, going to Sunday school and teaching Sunday school, and so I have lived here all my life in Suffield, and Bill just kind of became he became loyal to things in Suffield, and especially our church, and led a wonderful example for his kids.
It was unrestricted because I had total confidence in the wisdom of the distribution committee. And so if we just give them money, they do the right thing with it. I don't worry about it. They are very good people and very involved in the community. And we're very lucky to have them. They serve with no compensation at all, except the meal. I like the idea of it being unrestricted and leave it up to the distribution committee that's on the scene at the time when I'm not around anymore. They are current, and it's most important that they be current, not old fuddy-duds. Well, I certainly think of it as being Suffield, but I think of it as being Connecticut or Northeast. Connecticut, basically. Because that's small enough that it's easy to relate to, easy for me to relate to. Whereas if we go to the world, I can't relate to the world.
I go along with my husband.
Are you married?
I am. Oh dear. No, but basically, he has always made the decisions because he's been involved in the Hartford area, and it is really the area, the greater Hartford area that he cares about.
Yeah. It's a lovely setting, the Connecticut River that flows right through. We've been down the Connecticut River in canoes, which incidentally I love, and I know a fellow who's forgotten the question. He's sitting right next to his wife. I like things that are tangible and you can see the good or the bad that you have done. And that's so you can score whether you're accomplishing anything positive or negative. And that's good, except when it's negative.
He's interested especially in nature.
Yeah.
And bird life, and he had a young fellow that he worked with as a mentor, and they tagged all of the trees up and down Main Street just quite a few years ago.
Yep. Actually, we tagged the different species so that we divided the town into 4 quadrants, and we only tagged one scarlet oak in each of the 4 quadrants, yeah, etc. And so, by osmosis, people, and we had them at 9 feet up so that they were not tempting to people who like to borrow things. And so, very few of them have been purloined, but some have.
I feel very guilty about what we have left for them to try to straighten out. I think that they are all content now, and I think they all have children, and now the children are married, and we have quite a few grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I think that they all want to live the right kind of lives, for which we are very grateful.
I would say ditto. No, absolutely. That's the hope for the future, that they will be good people and raise good people and have happy lives and productive lives and make the world a better place than when they came into it. And we remember when they came into it.
And we certainly are aware of how blessed we are. We've lived a good, clean life, and we have never gone without, and we just are so thankful for all of the good things that have happened to us over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They come up to us and thank us, and we point out to them it isn't us. It's the foundation. And that's a nice feeling. People always appreciate being thanked, I say. It's worthwhile for us, all of us, to remember. Thank you is easy to say, and it's important.